Hi, this is a brief video on how to check and change the alignment on the X1M QRP transceiver. There's been quite a fair bit of talk about doing this with some issues with the default settings and what have you, so there's a quick video going through how to do it yourself by ear. First thing to check is to make sure that you do have the settings incorrect, or that you do have a problem. So the first way to check this is to tune to an AM broadcast station. In this case I'm at 585, and basically have a listen to see how it sounds comparing the USB and the LSB. So I'm on upper sideband here, and it actually sounds quite normal. However, when I go to lower sideband, it actually sounds terrible. This is basically because the lower sideband beat frequency oscillators on the incorrect frequency. So first thing we need to do is then change that. So we go into the menu settings by pressing and holding this link sys button, and here you can see it brings up all the options. What I discovered is that the BFO needs to be basically 1100 kilohertz plus or minus the IF offset. So in this case I've got all the default values set from the factory, and as you can see there, the lower sideband is actually listed as the same as the IF offset. So the first thing we need to do is basically change that to make it 1.1 off the IF offset. So okay, and then to save it we just press the link sys again. Yes. Okay.
Back home, a new study showing alcohol.
So already that lower sideband sounds much better. I'll just go back and do that again with the volume up a bit. So this here, I'll just go back to what it was. Okay, so as you change it, you can actually hear the audio come in.
Further, and to a much more carefully targeted population group. New figures show New South Wales has had its warmest January to August period on record. Sarah Hawke reports. Most people are aware it's been a warm year.
Okay, so now it's
across the 8 months, the temperatures have been 1.4 above average.
we can hear it roughly okay, but still not quite right. So what we need to do is adjust the IF offset. There's a couple of ways you can do that by ear. One is by listening to a station, although depending on what's on that station it can be a bit hard. So what some people have suggested, and it's probably a good method to try, is go to a frequency where there's no stations, no interference, and all you can hear is white noise, and then just flick between the lower sideband and upper sideband, and just notice the different tone or the bandwidth of the white noise. So the lower sideband here, the tone sounds quite low, and upper sideband quite high. I'll just do that a couple of times so that you can hear the difference. Hopefully you can hear it on the video. Okay, so basically when you're on the lower sideband, if the lower sounds like it's lower in tone, that means you've then got to lower the IF offset, and if the lower sideband sounds a bit high in tone, that means you've got to increase the IF offset. That's just a general rule, or at least what I found with this radio, so it could be worth going by that principle. If you find otherwise, then I'm sorry, but that's what worked in this case on this radio. Okay, so as I've determined that the lower sideband sounds a bit lower, we'll just lower the IF offset. I suggest going in 100 increments. So we'll go down to 750. Now, every time you change this IF offset, and in this case I've changed it by 100, you also have to change the upper and lower BFOs. So always make sure that you change these sort of in sync, and each time the lower sideband should be lower by 1100 and the upper should be higher by 1100. Okay, so we'll just save that. Now I've got this hooked up to an external speaker. It's just a little bit easier to work out than the internal speaker. It's actually probably a bit easier if you use headphones, although just be aware, if you haven't adjusted your side tone volume level from inside in one of the pots, be prepared to have the bejesus frightened out of you when the save or the not save beep happens, as you just heard there, because it's very, very loud. I nearly fell off my chair the first time I did it with headphones, so you have been warned. Okay, so again we'll just have a listen to the tone per se of the upper and lower. Okay, so lower still sounds a bit lower than the upper, so we'll go another 100k. Now, be ready for this loud beep. Very, very loud, so make sure the headphones aren't turned up too high if you do it with the headphones. Okay, again we'll check the difference between upper and lower. Okay, a little bit of difference there. We'll try another 100. Okay, so now the lower sideband's sounding a bit higher in tone than the upper, so I know that I've gone a bit too far. So we could try again, and this time we'll go in increments of 50. So we'll go to 600. Be ready for the loud beep. Okay, so the lower is still sounding a little bit higher, so you know we've still gone a bit too far. After playing with this radio a bit, I know that I roughly want it on about 650. You could spend a lot of time tweaking this to get it right on, but in this case we're just going for a rough value for the demo. I'll just save that, but I'll go back in quickly. Now notice I've just been doing the up and sideband. I don't work CW, so I haven't played with that too much. However, I would suggest that the CW BFO should be approximately 800 below the IF offset, but that's yet to be confirmed. You might find that your values are a bit different to that. Okay, so now to confirm that, we'll find our AM broadcast station.
Queensland Jason Dale in a tie for 9th place at 12 under. Champion Adam Scott is tied for 41st place at 7 under.
Okay, so now we'll
world number 1 Tiger
basically the lower and upper should sound fairly much the same.
Has rocketed to the betting after mention that he will be a late entry for the $1 million race at Hill on September 14. Trainer Tony Vassell has reversed an earlier decision not to send Prince Harada.
As you can hear, they're very similar. Again, you could tweak that IF offset to get it spot on, but I was quite happy with that setting. It's fairly close. I could have tweaked it, but that's it. Anyway, so that's roughly the quick method of doing it without any test gear. Just doing it by ear. It's quite straightforward. Again, points to remember that the upper sideband BFO should be approximately 1100 higher than the IF offset, and the lower sideband BFO should be roughly 1100 below the IF offset. As I mentioned, I think the CW BFO should be minus 800 to be confirmed. So there you go. That's the basic method of, or the quick and dirty method of tuning and getting the lower sideband so that it's usable. Hopefully that's of use for you. I'll hopefully be posting a couple more videos showing a bit more accurate methods with some other test gear and other bits of equipment that you can use to make it more accurate. 7.3s, VK6 Tango Whiskey Oscar and VK3 Tango Whiskey Oscar, 7.3s.